Alrighty. 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Señores y señores.
And señoritas.
I thought you got
Señores
both,
and señoras.
Yes. Welcome to another episode of the
You don't look like an engineer
podcast.
So I just got nervous.
I didn't want to overlap and be behind you and then you be in front of me and then it just sounds like a mess, you know?
It's a mess. Sometimes we do that. I just wanted to start off this podcast episode by saying that we have an update. I received the Emerging Engineering Associate of the Year 2023 on Wednesday, and it was an award by Engineers Australia at the Excellence Awards dinner gala, where they recognize excellence. And it feels crazy because, as Sohan said, like, we have been working really hard in, promoting the engineering profession and STEM careers, and it feels really good to just be acknowledged for that. And obviously the past 6 years in the industry that I have contributed to.
What was it like to be on stage? Do you want to talk about it?
It was good. I think I share everything on our Instagram, so if you guys don't follow us, maybe you should start because we share all of these things. And I think it was just a very different experience. Like, you are surrounded by all these incredible people that have, done really exciting things in our engineering industry, and different disciplines and different people who have been involved in different projects. And just getting your name out there, even just as a nominee, was really exciting. And obviously receiving it was fulfilling. Yeah,
and it feels like recognition, for all the stuff that's happening. And, we do put in a lot of work, and it's nice. We're not going to say it doesn't count for anything, because it does. It does fuel the excitement to keep going, and recognizing that the industry also sees the little effort that you put in. So,
and I think it's also good because it just goes to show that these things are achievable, and that there's a plan to get there.
And the fact that it's possible. Yeah, 100%. I like the fact that you said it's achievable, because a lot of the misconceptions people have is like, oh, if I just put in enough effort and I just do really good work, someone somewhere will like tap me on the shoulder and like put me up for these things. But I feel like we should probably do a segment on like how important it is to build your personal brand and self-advocate for yourself, because everyone's just like coming in, doing their own work and going, like that's it. Like, everyone's focused on building their own stuff. So if you don't put your hand up for these things and you don't self-advocate, a lot of the time, that's it. You just don't get the recognition.
Well, that is really true. And I also think that it's important for people that are out there and are part of the engineering industry. I think it's important that they do also apply to these rewards applications, because the process of applying is extremely rewarding, and it's a good self-reflection. Like, you go through the years of work and you share your involvement in the industry, and also your involvement with communities and the volunteering work that you have done. And I think is good to reflect on those things from a personal growth view. And I also think that if we talk about what we do and we share how diverse the industry is, we're gonna attract more people regardless of the gender. Like, we're just gonna attract more. And I think it's incredibly important now, because as we have heard on different articles, or we have read actually on different articles, like, in a few years, most of the engineering population here in Australia at least are people that are gonna end up retiring, and those positions are gonna have to be fulfilled. And I think that a lot of this interest in STEM careers, or in any other career, is developed through looking up to other people that are doing things. As industry professionals, we have a role to continue to spread the word of how important and how big the role we play in.
Yeah, and it's about doing things that I think, like Diana, our previous guest, really talked about it quite well. It's about doing things that you find flashy and fun, but also you recognize that someone looking at it will find it attractive as well. Because at the end of the day, like a lot of times when I speak to people who wanted to do engineering and stuff, it's like they wanted to solve real world problems that are in, like, you know, different parts of the world. They get to work in other parts of, like, other geographies, travel around.
Yeah, like Daniel Lambert.
Yeah, and if no one's doing that around you and you don't see that happening, then, like, very quickly you're going to run out of that dream, because you're going to be like, fuck, it doesn't even happen, it was a lie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think for, like, a female's perspective as well, like, you know, we have fewer role models, and they do exist. In fact, on the night of the award,
and we're committed to helping you speak to them and hear from them. Yeah,
exactly. It's important to apply to these things. Just to summarize and connect to that idea, it's important to apply and
we'll
to inspire
make it our
others.
mission to have their voices heard.
Yeah, so now we can jump into what today's episode
Oh, and also
is all
having
about.
our podcast mentioned, excuse me, in front of like hundreds of people, that was great.
Well, so first of
They
all,
mentioned it anyway. Stop.
I didn't really get to say that you don't look like an engineer podcast. It just said that through my podcast involvement. But obviously, everyone that's going to click on my LinkedIn profile, they'll see my.
It, so it doesn't matter.
But I do feel like I could have said it really loud, and I just, for some reason, I was modest enough not to do it. But, you know, guys, we're working on it.
Yes. Lessons to be learned.
Lesson learned.
Yeah. Okay. Now, our little segment that we always bring, you know, our one-on-ones that we like to talk about, little things we learn about the industry. Today's topic is...
Glass cliff phenomenon.
Yes. Phenomenon.
Oh, thank you. Glass cliff.
It's just the glass cliff. That's it.
Glass cliff.
Yeah. And you guys might be wondering, because we've all heard about the glass ceiling and everyone knows what that is. There's lots of studies around it. But what the hell is the glass cliff?
Okay. So, do you want to give one of the meanings? Because I could give the other one. So there's two meanings.
Two things, yeah. And I think they're sort of interrelated. But my first introduction when I was looking into this is that, unfortunately, a lot of the trends that sometimes people see, and anecdotally I've heard it a lot as well, so it was very cool to see that there was a study around it, is that when mistakes happen in a workplace, and unfortunately, and not like, it's slightly depressing, but it's just a statistic at this point, you know, we're not trying to say it in a positive or negative light. When a mistake is made, there's two individuals, male and female, it is unfortunate that the female's mistake is often led into way more scrutiny, and much harsher consequences than, say, the same mistake for a male counterpart. And the fact that, they get more serious repercussions out of it just makes it like a glass cliff. You know, we're standing on a glass cliff where we can be thrown down at any point.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And the other meaning is the one referring to when women reach a leadership position when a company isn't doing really well, it's not the best year, and then that
it's a high risk scenario,
fails.
Essentially.
Yeah, well, it's like setting up these people to fail. So that's the other sort of like meaning behind it.
So essentially what it works, what I was talking about and what we were looking into, is that what has been noticed, and there's a lot of, you know, studies to back it up. It was, summarized well in an article by the BBC talking about introducing the glass cliff and what happens. And so what has been noticed that is that a lot of times when companies are going through a very negative phase and it's looking like there's no solution in sight, what happens is that women will be offered and tend to get into senior leadership positions. Now, why women choose such a precarious situation in which to get their first gig as a senior leader is, like they were talking about, how there's many factors behind it. One of it might be that senior leadership positions don't come around much, and so they'll just jump on this as any opportunity. You know, you've got one chance, just make it happen, and you never know when the next one is going to come. The next thing is also that somehow it would appear that for high risk scenarios, you know, like this, the company's going through a downtime, men will easily pass that on and say, look, this is too risky, I don't want to get into it. But somehow women perceive that as not a very risky event. Like, maybe it's like, I think part of it just comes into like, there's not many leadership positions offered, and if you're being offered this and you just see, okay, there's a chance to prove my mettle,
Absolutely. I think that's where it's stemming from. And
one thing they hadn't covered is if women do pass up these opportunities, do they get another leadership position offered as easily?
What did they say?
They said that's kind of a longitudinal research, and they haven't been able to do it because you have to do more into like time and span wider, so it's hard to tell, but possibly. And so that's part of the risk as well.
It's interesting that poor organizational performance offers women the opportunity to secure these leadership roles. I wonder why.
Exactly, like why are they seen? It seems like they'll just do it for just seem like, okay, we're helping women out. Like, what's the point? Why in that situation would you want a woman to join us? Yeah, so that was one of the things. They weren't sure if women are being singled out for these positions that are like designed to make them fail, and that's obviously like it can be looked at as a negative thought process around it, but it begs the question, why weren't they looked at before shit hit the fan, essentially? Unfortunately, like, this is based on survey information, right? And it seems either like the male counterparts are blissfully oblivious, or I don't know, don't have very strong opinions on this, but 17% of the women who took the survey found that they thought maybe this was happening because women are seen to be more expendable than men and make better potential scapegoats. That's a bit sad. Like, almost 1 in 5 women looking at it as that's the thing is pretty sad. But definitely 31% of the women said that, there's just fewer opportunities for women to be leaders. And so if this is the opportunity that's coming about, then just grab it. Yeah.
And it says that they are, like, men are more likely to turn down
100%
glass cliff roles.
Because they'll see it as what it is. It's designed to make you fail. Like, it's a difficult situation.
But then they sell it to women as, like, they are more likely to succeed at these positions because they are not men. So it's like people in certain companies are like, she just was hired because she's a female, or because this person is from a diverse background. Like, there's people that don't see that. And look, a lot of listeners are gonna probably think like, oh, that's not a bad thing, and like it's like the pretty privileged thing, right?
It doesn't go well in, like, imagine someone's worked really hard and worked their fucking ass off, and then they just hear like you're just hired as a quota. It's pretty shit.
Oh, that's really sad.
Yeah, it's gutting. Also, the other thing that comes, so this glass cliff exists, no doubt about it. There's enough of data surrounding it that it does exist, that women are either putting their hands up or being offered these leadership positions, both, a mixture of both, that are in situations that are so difficult that unfortunately when they don't get it right, because often it's very difficult to turn around from that situation and scenario, then the thing is just to let them go. Like, you weren't a good leader, fuck it, like, bye, see you, Yeah. And so they've also found that women's tenure, or like time in a leadership position, is much less. So I think in the US, a senior male in these industries is seen to last for about 8 years.
That's right.
And women is 4 to 5 years.
Well, so it is also in the United States, for example, men tend to be in a leadership position for 10 years, and then women tend to be half of that, 5 years.
Yeah. So a lot of it is, just being pushed out because you've come in the situation, and it's very hard to turn it around. And what they're saying, what is difficult is that when women aspiring to get into leadership positions are now seeing their role model is someone who is stuck in having a really bad leadership experience, is not like, it's so difficult. Yeah, you're not being treated well, and then it ends so quickly. It reduces the
well, it's not appealing. Why would you want to do something like that?
Exactly. Whereas the men that have turned down that position because they've seen it as too risky and they're not going to do it, and they're happy to just wait for the next opportunity. So, like, men are more likely to have role models that are having, nice leadership experiences, and it's good for them. And
and I think it's really sad because this doesn't just happen in the engineering industry, but this happens in, like, most male-nominated.
They talked about it being lawyers and what other just any industry. Yes, that was the word. Yeah. So I'm not sure here if is there a positive that women are seen to be as these amazing problem solvers, but it's also not realistic, because once you've reached a point where it's I think one of the ladies who was in the seminar, she was very interesting. She said that so in hindsight, she realized she was sitting on a glass cliff scenario, but she didn't know at the time, obviously. But she was talking about because she was in academia, and she was asked to join this role where she had to fly from England to Australia and join and be like the leader of this team that was about to lose funding, and she didn't even know it was about to lose funding because the guy just left and he took away all the funding, and she had to be like in charge of it and turn it around and make sure like it was the worst of the worst experiences she could have. And at the end of the day, yeah, like 4 years later she left because they restructured and everything changed. But that's one of the situations that she realizes she wasn't designed. It wasn't a situation that she could have just come and succeeded amazingly at, because it was on the verge of collapse anyway. And yeah, the outcome
really
is that you can't regret, I suppose, at the end of the day, any opportunity that allows you to grow, because there's a lot of growth on offer here, but there's a lot to lose, you know?
Yeah, and obviously the reason why we're talking about this is to create awareness about this, you know, phenomenon, and also to sort of like explain where this stems from. The explanation can be different factors such as like sexism. So for example, where, you know, women are singled out for inferior positions, or group dynamic. Those that are in senior positions prefer to hire men, and then women are seen as, you know, not applicable for the role. Is that what?
And I think like not just to raise awareness, it would be really cool if like some, I don't know, this is me being really utopian, but if like a senior leader heard this, and like male obviously, and started questioning why they're only, you know, putting up females' names for when shit is really going south, and why not suggest like a promotion of a female leader before, and for scenarios that are like smooth going and not in a very precarious situation, like just put their name up everywhere rather than only these critically problem-solving needs. Absolutely. That would be so cool. And if they just got enough of like a thought process out of it to even question the system and have a look and just see that it's not happening around them, so that if the female made a mistake, they're not judged as harshly. Like try to give the same amount of slack you would give a male leader.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why,
that would be great.
as part of this podcast, we can sort of like mention some strategies to manage these ceilings. These glass cliffs, not ceilings.
Put safety net at the bottom.
Apart from like, you know, awareness, which is what basically we're trying to create by sharing this, we sort of like think that it's important to be more objective in performance evaluation. And as you said, like Sohan, if you see that the company is like, you know, the leaders at a certain company are all looking very similar in terms of, you know, gender, maybe just make sure that there is a different criteria, or like maybe just reflect whether your performance reviews are sort of like more biased, you know.
Are they objective enough at the end of the day? And if there has been a female leader and you're hearing bad things about what happened, look at the whole scenario. Was she put in a position to fail? Like, was this a really shitty situation to start off with?
We have a lot of diversity programs, and I feel like there's a lot of mentorship programs as well in the industry, but it's very different if we don't action these programs, if we don't action these initiatives, like if we are not really using them full stop, like what effect is that going to have? It's like, for example, discussing all these stereotypes that we have in society, and if we don't do anything about it and expect like one person to do something because that's the way it's worked in the past few years, you know, it's about actioning these things as well.
And I think as females going through this, so I can speak for people I know, and I definitely, like, there's enough women who have heard speak, so there's obviously like a similar theme running here, is that you just feel like, oh no, I really have to prove myself, and I can't complain, and I can't raise the issues, and I can't really, like, I just have to power through because this is my chance to prove myself, you know? And that should also be avoided. So as a woman going through any of these experiences, if this rings true, speak up, you know, like get a mentor or someone in the team, let them know the difficulties that you're having in the role, why it's not working or what's working. And A, you'll probably get good problem solving out of that, and B, like, it then comes down to the fact that someone knows about the hardships that are going on, you know. It doesn't have to be that you're like slogging away at this impossible task. Like someone, like, they'll know what you're doing, they'll know how hard you're working, and also how difficult the situation is and might not be solvable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a really good advice that you have sort of like shared there, and it makes me think about, like, you know, communication is something that we all as human beings need to improve on. But in this particular scenario, when you have been put in a position to fail and you want to prove yourself and others that you can't, even though you are an incredible and smart individual, there's certain positions that won't probably be solvable, or they might need more time, or they might need more resources to be solved. And I think it's actually more brave if you step out and say that. If you say, look, I don't want to compromise quality, I don't want to compromise ABC, and I'd rather just ask for help, or maybe not take that position, you know? If you know that is probably going to also compromise your relationship with your children, or like your mental health, then it's not worth it.
Or even just your reputation in the workplace, you know, because you can see that it's going to be like pulling a pin on a grenade.
Disaster.
You don't need to get your hand blown off.
Yeah. So that's it.
Short and quick.
We just literally wanted to talk about it because we hear a lot of the glass cliff. And
I think this can segue
the
into
glass ceiling, the glass ceilings, and we hear about the glass ceilings, and we hear how hard it is for women to get to leadership positions, and then once they get, perhaps it's not the position that they were expecting, and now they are like trying
falling
to get
off a cliff.
The F off from this position.
Yeah. So I think this is a very important topic that, you know, I have not heard discussed much. So we thought it would be nice to discuss. And I think a good follow-up with this is also communication. And we keep talking about how we should talk about that. So stay tuned. Dialogue will be probably our next one.
Absolutely. And if you are listening to this episode and this has sort of happened to someone that you know, or if this has happened to you in a way, share it. If you haven't heard of this, also share it.
Yeah. And DM us.
DM us on LinkedIn or Instagram. Or anywhere.
And enjoy the rest of your day.
Quick info. Bye.
Okay, I'm stopping recording.